Okay, so I got another free-to-play game here called Goblet of Mercy. Looked at some of the pictures, and it does describe itself as a visual novel. Choices matter, so there's multiple endings. And I think it's not like a horror game, but it's just kind of an eerie, creepy game, if I can kind of read it right. But let's just start it up. October 31st. Oh shit, I gotta read stuff out loud. So what's your costume? I mean, besides a clown. If she seemed a little testy, it was because Judy was not a fan of clowns. Okay. What's your name? Oh, you can actually pick your name now. Okay. Alright. Is that Pierretta? Pierrette? Pierrette? I don't know. So you're a French clown. I'm a sad clown. It's a thing. I had to think about it for a moment. It's probably also French. Uh-huh. I came up in a search for easy, do-it-yourself last-minute clown costumes, okay? All I had to do was buy the face paint and make the pom-poms out of yarn. Alright, and sew the costume. It was not nearly as easy as advertised, don't judge me. Not all of us are super talented cosplayers. Fine. You're laughing at me. See if I come along again. I know you didn't mean that. Fine, she knew me too well. I didn't mean it. The Halloween ball at the local library was the big fundraising event of the year. Cheap used books with library markings placed strategically between Halloween decorations. What's not to love? You could have asked me for help, but you procrastinated, didn't you? She had me there, so naturally I changed the subject. So what are you, nurse? Ratchet? I'm a bloodthirsty and tyrannical monarch. For a moment I questioned my eyes. Judy, that's a nurse costume? Sure is. Is there anything scary than a trusted authority figure gone wrong? It's almost worse than if a friend betrays you, isn't it? Never thought about it, I guess. The event was vintage themed this year, which was another reason I decided on the clown costume. Someone had really got out. Oh, this is why I hate reading, guys. Someone had really gone all out. The library was decked out in handmade crepe paper decorations with old-fashioned Halloween designs. Judy nudged my side. Hey, you don't believe in evil, do you? What? She pressed a book into my hands. I read the title. Grandiose Evil, an Occult Perspective. Judy, are you alright? Oh, I didn't mean to do that. It's a serious question, Shalina. Do you believe in evil? Okay, finally some choices to make. Siri, do you believe in evil? Let's say sure. Sure, there are acts of evil. There are horrible and harmful choices. Someone makes choices like that often enough, maybe you can say, well, that's an evil person. People don't want to believe it, in evil. Why is this on your mind? Hey, it's Halloween, I'm just giving you a hard time. Have I scared you yet? Judy could be. What was the word? Intense? I bet this is who you really are deep down, Judy. You just hide it because you're afraid of alienating people. You're probably right. Halloween ball features some old-timey Halloween tunes. I couldn't foxtrot to save my life, so I made like a wallflower. Judy went to dance and mingle, and I found myself alone, although that wasn't a hardship as far as I was concerned. I decided to skim through the book she had given me. I knew it was her idea of a joke, or thought it was, but for 35 cents in absolute steal in 2023, I could be proud owner of Grandiose and Evil in a full perspective. Hypnotized, I flipped through the page after page. How had anyone ever decided, yes, let's kill some trees for this? I glanced at the publication date, of course, the 1960s, while the book featured some wild speculation about historical figures like Countess Elizabeth Bathory. It was one paragraph in the back of the book that caught my eye. That was a creepy woman, if I remember her right. I read a story about her, if you look her up, Countess Elizabeth Bathory. One woman became so obsessed with control over every aspect of life, so in love with her vision and ideals, she crafted an entire world through thought alone. What you reading? Wasn't this your assignment? Why, Charlene? I'm a nurse, not a teacher. Come along. Judy led me through the hall past a display of used true crime stories and into the woods behind the library. Where are we going? Don't you trust me? Is that a cue for my famous last words? She paused and turned to me, her expression mock serious. Why, what would yours be? You're hilarious. I like it. I bet it will go down in history. Shalina's famous last words were, "You're hilarious." This time I thought I saw something like sadness in her eyes. Here, I have something for you. She held out what looked like a metal tag dangling from the end of a blue ribbon. I know it doesn't look like much, but I made it for you. She trailed off, clearly embarrassed. I'll be lucky if I don't lose something. Is something wrong, Judy? I should just say, "Aw, I love you too," because she is creeping me out. Aw, I love you too. So you forgive me for being kind of a jerk earlier? I flapped a hand at her. Forget about it. Duck your head. I'll put it on you. She draped the ribbon around my neck. Wow, it's pretty. You really made this? I'm sorry, Shalina. For what? Darkness shuddered over my world, and I stumbled. Numbness stole over me, freezing my limbs. Little shocks traveled up and down my nerves, and distorted shadows swam over my vision. I don't know how much time passed, but next thing I knew, I was on my back staring up at the ceiling, my head spinning. The air felt heavier somehow, less dry than I was used to. The sensation reminded me of stepping off a plane into a different climate. Why was I staring at the ceiling? Wasn't I outside a minute ago? Had I passed out or something? Where was Judy? Why was it so dark? Is this the only one you have for me? Something tugged at a pom-pom on my front. Pure white fear lanced through me, but I couldn't move to knock the hand away. I struggled to speak, to demand. Oh my God. For a second, I just looked up at my recorder, and it looked like this recording was off, and I was about to be like, I haven't been recording this whole time, oh my God, after reading all this. But anyways, okay. I struggled to speak, to demand to know what was going on, but my voice stopped in my throat. What is this? It's her costume, Your Majesty. We were at a masquerade ball. It's as you wanted. She doesn't have a lot of strong ties. Two voices. One was definitely Judy's. Judy's voice came from my left, but I couldn't turn my head to see her. I struggled. After a moment, I managed to lift my chin, but that was the best I could do. Her Majesty says, she will suit the purpose, I suppose. One mortal is the same as any other, as far as the goddess is concerned. Then you are pleased. Patience, Felicia. Should I be delighted when I know not what I have to work with? My apologies, Your Majesty. I'd never heard Judy sound so formal and stilted. Even knowing the voice was hers, I struggled to reconcile it with the Judy I knew. What was she afraid of? What was going on? footsteps? Was that Judy? I couldn't see her. Where was she going? Fabric whispered. Something cold touched my skin where the ribbon still wrapped around my neck. Then the ribbon was lifted over my head, the band rasping against my jaw. The tingling got worse, morphing into a hot prickling as if my limbs had fallen asleep and were only now waking up. As a mattress pressed against my back, funny how a moment before I hadn't felt it at all. Hello? Somebody was there, so I had assumed. Had I imagined the touch? I rubbed my neck and confirmed that Judy's gift was gone. I sat up. An icy chill kissed my face. Was this room unheated? I touched my forehead, checking for fever. Had the conversation been real or some kind of auditory hallucination, part of a fever dream? My skin was cold to the touch, and I noticed my nose and ears were chilled. What was going on with Judy anyways? I must have passed out. That was it. Was I in a hospital? If so, why was everything so dark? Slowly I got to my feet and felt around. My fingers struck something hard and ice cold. A metal bar? I gripped it and felt down its pebbly surface. The side of my hand struck another bar, this one running perpendicular to the first. Was I in a cage? My heart thudded painfully in my chest. Disbelief blanketed my mind, protecting me for the moment from total panic. Her Majesty says, "Does the dark frighten you?" I started then straining to see into the gloom. Okay, is that your goal, to frighten me? It's a little unnerving. Why am I in prison? Did I do something? That's what I'm going to say. Why am I a prisoner? Did I do something wrong? Did you? I suppose you'll have time to wonder, won't you? Fabric rustled. I tilted my head towards the sound. Hello? Are you still there? I listened to the darkness, my hands cold and clammy. What was going on? Why am I here? Distantly, bells tolled. Was there a church nearby? Or was this only sound other than my heartbeat pounding in my ears? Where is this place? My captor didn't see fit to reply, or else she was gone. Is she what I get for dressing like a clown for Halloween? Is that it? Bad karma because so many people are scared of clowns. Adrenaline could only keep me going for so long. Despair, weariness settled over me, and I then stumbled. I wanted to sit down. I extended my arms, felt around the mattress. It was a big space, but in near total darkness, I'd gotten turned around. The mattress was in the corner of the cage. I lowered myself down. Without adrenaline to keep me warm, a chill began to eat into me. I padded around the bed looking for a blanket. No luck. I wrapped my arms around myself to hold in what little heat I could. Hello? I shivered and rubbed my arms for warmth. My palms chafed against goose flesh. Is someone there? The soft wind whispered outside some distant window. Fortunately, I didn't feel any draft. If it were windy in here, the cold might go from uncomfortable to possibly dangerous. Every bit of luck counted, right? Were there no windows in this room? I got a sense of impenetrable stone walls, although I wasn't sure why, since I still couldn't see. There was something dank and cellar-like about this room. Maybe that was why I thought the place was made of stone. Breathing in my nose, I detected it then. A muddy scent like old wet plaster was underground, or was my location both cold and humid at the same time? I don't know how long I sat there trying to squeeze the tiniest bit of information from my available senses. In the end, I was no more enlightened than when I began. Had Judy betrayed me, given me over to some cult? A cult that worshipped some goddess and where the higher-ups went by your majesty? None of that made sense. Why would Judy betray me? Why did she work for a queen? I didn't think there were many of those these days. Maybe the title was figurative, or somebody's idea of a joke. I'd been kidnapped by a prom queen. I pictured for a moment, but couldn't manage so much as a smile in response to the metal image. My cage was too solid, the room too dark. Nothing was going to lighten the mood. A bruised weariness lay heavy where my heart should be. When I finally fell asleep, I dozed, fading in and out of consciousness. My dreams were not kind. Okay, that was day 1. It was the sound of a match that woke me. I lurched upright and blinked sleep rapidly from my eyes. My head throbbed a warning promising a future headache. A table on the other side of the cage spread out before me in easy reach, its surface lit by a single candle. The scent of fresh baked bread lifted into the air, and I drank in the sight of it. Was that a bowl of fresh picked pomegranates? My mouth watered and my stomach yawned empty. When was the last time I'd eaten? A soft laugh rose and fell. You must be hungry. A woman seated herself behind the table, illuminated by warm candlelight, but there was nothing warm about her. When I speak to you, you may address me. I was starving and having a bite to eat might fend off my incoming headache. Still, her words felt like a trap. I will just say, yes, I am hungry. Honestly, I do appreciate honesty. Over the coming days, we will get to know each other. There is something to which I must attend, but tomorrow we shall commence our relationship earnest. She stood. Will you leave the light on? The words spilled from me before I could stop them. Of course not. You could start a fire. She reached out and pinched out the light, throwing the room once more into darkness. I listened for the swish of fabric, but if her dress made any noise, I didn't pick up on it. Hello? Dread, acute and painful, tightened my chest. Suddenly, the darkness was too much. I was too alone. Please say something. Reaching through the bars with one hand, I touched the smooth, polished edge of the table. I ran my hand over the cold surface, moving slowly so I didn't knock the goblet over wherever it was. The table was empty. Not so much as a crumb remained. Had I imagined the loaf of bread, the fruit? Was I still dreaming? I rubbed my face, pinched my cheek. Was the pain duller than it should be? Or were my senses numbed for some other reason? What if there was something wrong with my face? Panicked, I lightly smacked my cheeks. No, my face was fine. Everything was where it was supposed to be. There was nothing right about the situation. I couldn't think straight. Deliberately, I dragged my breath into my lungs. Calm down, I told myself. I was imagining things. Being left alone in the dark could do that to a person. And here's Judy again. Sholina? Judy's voice. I relaxed and my heart lightened. She hadn't abandoned me. Maybe she could explain what was going on in a way that would make sense. Maybe I was in the hospital in a coma or something and she had come to visit me. Judy? The lights cast a strange blue light onto the room. She lit the candle on the table. Judy, that's not my name. What did she mean by that? Was this time for confessions? I pressed my hands onto my forehead and breathed. It's okay, don't panic. I ducked my head so I could see her better through the bars. Then what is your name? I was born Felicia Nesta Melia. Okay, Felicia, what on earth is going on here? That's just it. You're not on Earth anymore. I took a moment to parse that. Really? Was she going with Portal Fantasy as her final answer? You know, I never pictured you as a cult member. When do I get to see the tinfoil hat? Yeah, that's smart. Insult her. That's ridiculous. Okay. Are you dense, or just that much in denial? You speak English, American English, just like I do. If we weren't on Earth, we'd be speaking Klingon or something, obviously. You're such a nerd. I don't know much. I'm not allowed to. So I'll tell you what I do know. She is always working to make our world reflect her. Her wishes, her dreams, her tastes. Still, a little of your world squeaks in no matter what she does. For a long time, your continent wasn't densely populated enough to influence us. So that's where most of the portals go. That changed. Now she takes somebody like you in order to maintain control over the balance of this world. Okay, this is insane, but I don't have a choice, do I? I've got to play in this crazy land whether I like it or not. You're getting the idea. I'm not going to lie. You're probably going to die horribly. She has us people like me find suitable specimens from your world. Sometimes she wants things, sometimes she wants tales of our travels, and sometimes she wants people. I grip the bars. Fine, what does she want from me? She'll begin with your memories and experiences. Are you kidding me? How does she get that? Magic? Look, I'm warning you, not consoling you. There is nothing I can do about this. So you're not going to help me. I physically can't help you. If I break my oath to the Empress, I will die. What do you mean you'll die? The power of the oath we call the demon's bargains will kill me if I break my word. This is nuts. You're nuts. You're wasting time on the Nile. You should make the most of it and ask me questions. She'll be back in a few hours, and she can't know I was ever here. I know you. So what are you gonna? So are you going to help me? She already said no. Let's say what happens if I tell her. What happens if I tell her? Think about it. I'm sure you can guess. I swallowed. Judy, why'd you do this to me? It's Felicia. Why? I didn't have a choice. You still might get out of this alive, or if not alive, not dead. What's that supposed to mean? Be clever. Don't insult her. Agree with her. Entertain her. Entertain her? What is this, my fault because I picked a clown costume? I'm glad you feel like joking. I sure don't. Why did you pick me? I thought she'd find you interesting. When I do well, I get to live longer. Judy, Felicia, please help me. I'm sorry I should go. Am I going to see you again? I shouldn't have even risked this, but I feel bad. Don't go, please. You get one more question, then I got to get away while I can. What does she respect? I need to think about this strategy. What does she respect? Nobody and nothing. She's the best thing in the whole world, and it would be wise of you to remember that. So flattery? Maybe. But you'll be walking a fine line. A hand seemed to grip my insides, and my voice might have come out a little squeaky when I spoke again. So where am I? In a dungeon or somewhere? No, you're in the palace for now, but no one else is allowed in these rooms. She doesn't want I don't know that one, to know about the other world. Her right-hand man knows, of course, but her voice cut off oddly. Let me guess, you're not allowed to talk about that either, are you? She put out the candle and whirled. Her silk dress whispered against the stone floor. She was leaving. The breath froze in my throat. Felicia? Aren't you going to say goodbye? I hit the bars of my cage. Ow. Shaking my hand, I strained to see into the darkness. Felicia, God. She didn't even say goodbye. I ignored the dampness that burned my eyes. Felicia, Judy. This was worse than I thought, and I still wasn't sure what to believe. Was this some crazy cult complete with end times and aliens? What if it was a cult that performed human sacrifice? I didn't like the look of that stone statue in the back of the room. I'm too young to die, and not that way. I refuse it. It wouldn't be fair. The darkness swallowed up my light and smothered them. Didn't even get the mercy of cheering myself up. I felt the bars pressing for weakness in the welding. Maybe I'd get lucky, and the maker of my cage would turn out to have been a complete beginner. When nothing gave, I felt for loose nuts and bolts. If only I could see what I was doing. Why couldn't the person who made this stupid cage be really bad at their job? Couldn't I get a break, even one? I gave the bars a good shake, but they didn't even rattle. a lock. I thought back to the strange woman's clothes and to Felicia's words. Was their technology as old as the clothing? I might have a chance if I encountered an old-fashioned tumbler lock. Of course, without the without the internet and my phone, I was going to have to figure it out by trial and error. Okay, I thought this was like, what do you call that? Victorian times or whatever. I thought this was, something like that, but I guess this is current. I'd play a lot of video games that featured tumbler lock puzzles. They couldn't all be wrong, could they? Wait, my phone. I doubt it. I had much battery, but some was better than nothing. I felt my shirt. I was still wearing my clown costume and patted my pockets. Nope, it was gone. Maybe Judy took it when I was immobilized by what? What had that been? A drugged ribbon? Frowning, I went in search of a lock. I found the part of the cage that comprised my door. My hand searching found a huge metal plate attached to it. When I tapped the plate, something reverberated on the other side. Was that the lock? I was willing to bet that I couldn't reach it. Hours later, I huddled on my bare mattress, cold and clammy, defeated. No matter what I did, I couldn't get my arm around the big metal faceplate. It was too big. The lock was out of reach, and because I couldn't see anything, I couldn't figure out a better plan of attack. Hot tears burned my eyes, and this time I couldn't stop them. Was it day? Night? I have no idea. The bells tolled again, but the number of rings didn't seem to reflect hours of the day, so that was no help. I wasn't tired. For a while, I tossed and turned on the mattress, alternating between wire-tight tension and listless despair. The hunger gnawed at me, and I pressed my hands into my stomach. Pressure helped a little. How long had it been? A day or two? My lips were dry and cracked. When I licked them, I tasted a hint of salt and iron. I felt it when she entered the room. She didn't make noise, but her presence was heavy and glowing like a dark incense. The fine hairs rose on the back of my neck and scalp. My heart thudded painfully in my chest. She lit a match, and I flinched. The sweet warm fragrance of fresh baked bread rose into the air, and my stomach clenched. A pitiful sound threatened to rise up in my back of my throat. I held it back. I rose slowly to a seated position, not daring to want the meal before me, because I knew I would be denied. I pressed my lips together, flattened the rough, cracked skin. Do you know what I am? That she wasn't just part of some crazy cult, but actually thought herself more than human, hadn't crossed my mind. Aren't you human? A fairy queen? You were a fishmonger. I wish I had my phone next to me. Hold on. I usually get it here. Heard that word a million times, but I don't know what it means, so I'm actually looking it up right now. Fishmonger. Doesn't sound like a nice word, but what's the definition of fishmonger? What is a fishmonger? A fishmonger, fishwife or female practitioners, is someone who sells raw fish. What? Okay, is this fish? Okay, it says a fishmonger is someone who sells raw fish and seafood. What? Okay, is that supposed to be a joke answer or something? This sounds like the nicer one. Aren't you human? A fairy queen? Sounds like it'd be insulting, but I think I'm going to go with that anyways. Let's say a fairy queen. You're a fairy queen? She laughed, high and almost sweet. The sound sent icy fingers walking down my spine. A fairy queen? I suppose one of those things are true. A long time ago, my kind walked your world freely and preyed upon them. Preyed upon them? Like your stories of the vampire, we drink blood, or rather drink life. Blood is only a convenient conduit for life. Oh, so we are dealing with the supernatural, not aliens or cults at all. No, Shalina, don't go there. She only believes she is a vampire. So Judy called inability to break her oath sounded like a deal with the devil, or maybe stories of the fair folk. But what this lady now described sounded more like Dracula. So what did that make me? Wait, was I unknowingly interviewing for the part of Renfield? I didn't want the job, honest. Why are you telling me this? I want to get to know you, Shalina. I want you to understand what you can do for me. After all, I need you. Though it pains me to admit it. Okay. I wasn't expecting vampires. What about magical oaths? But you could have picked anybody, right? What the hell? Oh my god, are you kidding me? Oh, never mind. Well, I'm always up all night. It's 7:15 in the morning right now. And there's some fucking asshole out there with a leaf blower. What a dick, man. I mean, it's fine for me, but I know there's apartment complexes all over this area. And I know he's waking them all up right now. Anyone who decided to sleep with their window open last night. It happens once a month, but anyways, enough about that. Back to the game. Let's say, but you could have picked anybody, right? Don't you think you could become special to me in time? She gave a dismissive wave. I made this world. I call it Acer. I made the gods and I brought people to live here and I control them all. My kind not so strong in your world. There are too many limitations to our powers. But in mine, I have no limits at all. Everything in my world is pleasing to my eye. You will find it far superior to your own in every way. Everything you might behold in this world has my touch, Shalina. You too will benefit from my attention. Perhaps you will be my fool, or perhaps my echo, a pair to my shadow. Perhaps you will serve in my empire. Excuse me. I didn't know what she meant by any of that. If possible, my mouth went drier than it already was. If you try my patience too far, perhaps you will decorate the city walls alongside the rotting corpses of my poor convicts. You got the wrong. I don't belong to you. What do you want from me? We already know what she wants from me. I think you got the wrong person. I don't belong to you. That'll piss her off. Let's say I think you got the wrong person. I'm not a clown in real life, honest. My sweet, do not fret. Almost anyone can be remade into something better. One has only to begin by tearing down the crumbling foundation, though. I opened my mouth to speak, but she cut me off. So, it is only a costume? But what does it say about you? These clownish trappings? Are you foolish, Shalina? Are you an entertainer? Are you talented? I'll say this. Well, I wouldn't say talented, but I've got a skill or two. What do you do? I didn't know what it was, but her interest in me made me want to disappear into the floor. My voice went a little high and squeaky. It's not that special, really. Was that a good response or a bad response? And why did I feel like I'd said the wrong thing? She paused, her long nails making the faintest scratching noise on the tabletop. You think I'm mad, do you not? I didn't say that. I wouldn't say that. I didn't say that, did I? The closest thing I'd come to studying psychology was pursuing the pop science magazines next to the checkout aisle. But even I knew she was obsessed with power and control. I didn't think that was madness, but I did know it was one hell of a character flaw. If only it were that simple, but no. Many predators do not understand their prey, do not care to understand. I know you already, Shalina. I will know all of you. Every memory you seek to hide from me will be mine. I will know your secret fears and darkest desires. I will root out your hopes and dreams. I will take what I want, and I will leave you with with whatever suits you best. Not only will I remake you into the best of yourself, I will cut away the parts that are the ugly or imperfect. A cold hand brushed my cheek, fingers danced around my brow. I jerked away as it stung. I hadn't seen her, hadn't heard her move. A chill stole over me. It had nothing to do with her icy fingers. I was getting an inkling that her idea of imperfect might not be the same as mine. No, she would cut away anything she didn't like about me. If she could, if that was even possible. I didn't think it was, but I was beginning to doubt myself. Did she really have that kind of power? What if she could take away all the things I liked, things that gave my life meaning? That wasn't possible, was it? You're not the only one who is hungry, Sholina. You know my name, but I don't know yours. She appeared to consider. You may call me Mara for now. Isn't that intimate? You should thank me for this privilege. I grit my teeth as I thought. You are angry. You do not know yourself, not yet. I will teach you. Then her words caught up with me. She was hungry, she was a vampire, or thought she was. What did that mean for me? What are you going to do with me? It is only a matter of one question. My pet, do I require that you feel my teeth? Or do I grant you mercy? Mercy, I think. She just waved her hand at the door, opening with a high-pitched creak. Move to the back of the cage. Let's not move at all. Ah, you know your place, or else you know how futile it would be to defy me, yes? It took all my will not to shove her aside and run. But what she said was true. Some instinct told me there was no point. So instead, I braced myself. There we are. Was that so hard? She slid a finger of ice beneath my chin, and I tilted my head back. There are three ways a person might respond to the demon's gaze. I stared into cold blue eyes. Let's see what you are, Sholina. Dreamer? Sleepwalker? Aha, my limbs locked up. I stood rigid, unable to move, unable to think. A captive. Then my gaze is no worthy to you at all. A pity. She sure did sound like she thought it was a pity. Then her lips brushed my throat and I could feel her spreading smile. Long, strong fingers cradled the back of my head. A sharp 2 points pressed into my throat, and my pulse leaped. Fangs pinned me in place, then broke the flesh. Sharp pain lanced through me, radiating from my neck. Oh God, but I couldn't speak. I couldn't cry out. She didn't draw or suck at the wound, but the blood flowed across her tongue. Nauseated, I would have swayed, but I couldn't move, couldn't even blink. My body flushed with heat. Then a deep chill set into my bones. Her grip tightened, and sharp nails left imprints on my scalp. It was too much. A soft sound threatened to escape me, but stuck in my throat. I don't know how long she held me like that, leaping at my blood. The touch of her tongue, delicate and unhurried. She let me down, and I fell to the mattress, every limb stiff and resisting. A pity you will remember none of this. Now sleep. Unable to do anything, I stared into the darkness. Barely heard her sweep out of the cage in a rustle of silk. She snapped the door shut behind me. Then I was alone again in the dark, struggling to move to stay awake. The pain subsided into a dull throb, and after a few long moments, I could blink again. My eyes were dry and sticky, and I was so tired. I tried to remember why my neck hurt, but the longer I thought about it, the less it mattered. Then I drifted into a restless sleep. Day 2. I don't know how much time had passed, but I woke smothered in a blanket of despair. Mara had said she was going to feed on me. Had she already? I felt my throat ripping an inch of my skin, seeking the marks. There were none. Was it all a show? Was my captor only pretending to be a vampire? I sat up, my head protested the movement. The spot on the mattress where I slept radiated a fading warmth. The moment I left it behind, I began to chatter, rubbing my arms to keep from freezing. Holy shit, I've been doing this for 40 minutes? I just saw the clock, sorry. I drew in a shuddered breath. The air was icy, leaving a chill that went to my teeth. I'd been in denial, but before now, I knew my predicament was real. If my captor was a demon vampire thing, whatever was I going to argue with her? I only needed to escape. The solid metal door and tumbler lock I couldn't reach, well, presented a problem, and I was worried running out of time. Despite the way she spoke, with this kind of strange, tolerant affection one might reserve for a misbehaving puppy, I knew she planned to kill me. Mara had sadist written all over her. She was enjoying this. I would have to figure out something. How long did I have before I lost my ability to reason? Had I actually talked to a woman named Mara, or had I imagined her? These were the sort of thoughts worming their way into my head. How much worse could it get? I licked my dry lips. Was her plan to let me die of thirst? Thirst might do the job, even if she didn't kill me with her own hands. If she had actually bitten me, I could add blood loss to my list of reasons I probably was dehydrated. Maybe that was why I wasn't already dead, because she wasn't actually a vampire, and it was all a trick. After all, I had no evidence that she had bitten me, and she implied she would. I gripped the bars of my cage and leaned against them. Is anybody there? Judy? Off in the distance, the bells rang. Did they toll every day or every several times a day? Still unnerved, I felt my neck, confirming once more that there were no wounds. I would almost welcome a memory of the bite itself, just so I know it didn't really happen. Mara, you are correct, it's not real. I startled badly, and smacked the small bones of my hand against the metal bars. Pain danced up my forearm, and I left my fingers numb. Demons, vampires, as you call them, we are not real, therefore neither is our bite. You may be wondering, did it happen at all? That was exactly what I was wondering, but I wasn't about to admit it. Did you bite me? You have a lovely taste, I assure you. My stomach dropped. She laughed softly. I meant it for a mercy, not to distress you so. Unfortunately, you felt my teeth before the magic took your memory. A cold sweat broke out of the back of my neck, and I stifled a grimace. Time to change the subject, I thought. My mouth was so dry from thirst it took me 2 tries to form words. How long have I been here? A week, my pet. A week? That couldn't be right. She was lying to me. You are distressed. You don't know how it could possibly be so. She laughed again and said she'd have to make it so obvious she enjoyed my fear and confusion. Talk about a piece of work. I hugged myself for warmth. Are you going to kill me? Why are you doing all this? Say, are you going to kill me? A little pinch of bravery. How daring of you. She waved to the 3 goblets sitting on the table. Are you thirsty? I'd never been so thirsty in my life. I'm getting kind of annoyed with this, so I'm going to start being rude to her. I'm just going to say, are you taunting me? No, I'll just say no. No. It was probably a stupid defiance and nothing more, but I couldn't help it. No. No? You should not waste your strength on pointless lies. You are weak enough as it is. She gestured once more, indicating the table and its goblets. This is my favorite game. Go on. Pick one to drink from, my pet. My mouth was parched. I wasn't sure I'd say no to water that came from a puddle on the street at this point. Okay, you have to pick one. The one in the center. Let's pick the one in the center. I pointed the goblet straight ahead of me. She handed the cup to me through the bars. It was way too much wine for an empty stomach, but I was too thirsty to resist. I tilted the goblet back and drank. At first, I thought it was some kind of sangria, far too sweet. Maybe it was mixed with grape juice. A chill touched my tongue and spilled down my throat, stealing what little warmth I had left. My hands shook on the goblet, and my teeth clacked together. What is this stuff? I wouldn't give you alcohol. You are too weak now. She was right. The sugar seemed to go straight to my brain, leaving me lightheaded. I placed a drop of blood in one of the cups. My stomach clenched, and a wave of nausea passed over me. I tried to keep my face straight. What? If you pick the correct one, you will rise again after you die. If you are lucky, you will be as immortal as I am. After I die? What if I died of old age? The effects sometimes last a week, sometimes a month. Don't be afraid. I will kill you long before they would wear off. Great, now I knew I had less than a week to live. Just like that, huh? Not quite. You will almost likely rise and live forever. Would you like that, Shalina? Isn't it better that way? You are afraid to die, aren't you? What would you be? I'll say I wasn't a moment ago. I wasn't a moment ago? Now, don't make light, my sweet. This is a serious occasion. Still, I can't have you telling everyone you're from another world. You must become a part of this one. Naturally, I must prune away the dead branches. Otherwise, the plant will never flourish. You do want to flourish, don't you? My throat tightened. What do you mean, prune away? Don't worry, it's necessary, and once done, you will never go through it again. Provided you perform the role I give you well enough, of course. Dizziness made me sway. I reached out to the bars to steady myself. One never knows the true essence of a person until all those unnecessary memories are gone. You won't miss them, Shalina. Most of them you never think of at all. Then there are the memories that only cause you shame. Don't you want them to leave you in peace for always? Sure, there were things that I wished I could forget, but I didn't want someone to choose for me. You're quiet now. You were so talkative when we met. Do you finally understand that I know what's right for you? I squeezed my eyes shut and leaned against the side of the cage. There's so much to do, but for now, you should sleep. She rose, my heart pounded against my ribs, and I straightened. Take heart, Shalina, your troubles are nearly over. She blew out the candle and left, silk whispering on the stone floor. I needed a new strategy, because I didn't know what. Gripping the bars gave them a good but pointless shake. Then I felt around the metal plate on the door. I still couldn't reach the lock, and now I thought about it. I really had nothing which to open it. Even if I could reach it, what was I going to do? Use the safety pins holding my pom-poms to my costume? My sad, rumpled, and now smelly costume? I wasn't the sort of person who was afraid of clowns, but if I never survived this ordeal, I wasn't sure I'd ever be able to look at a clown costume ever again. Not without cringing, anyway. I pressed my hands to my face. Hot tears threatened the corners of my eyes. I did my best to ignore them. I couldn't afford to lose any more strength. Even tears were dangerous when I suffered blood loss and deprivation. After a few moments, I reined it in, my breath coming in harsh gasps. Then I gazed into the darkness as if it held the answers. Hours passed, I think, although I had no sense of time. I stayed like that, staring into the shadows of this cavernous room. My thoughts scattered whenever I tried to hold on to them. The darkness and captivity had extracted their price, and the price was thinking straight. I couldn't do it anymore. Part of me, on some level, that I wouldn't be getting out. Part of me knew, on some level, that I wouldn't be getting out of here alive. It was too late. The hunger and cold ate into me. I tossed and turned to keep warm. I could no longer focus on escape. When I dreamed of her. Okay, we're on day 3. Are you still sleeping? I rolled into my side and looked at her. So what happens now? Going to kill me so your magic potion works? Much little faith you have. Never fear, I will teach you to believe in me before long. It's nearly time, you know. I figured that meant tonight was my last. Slowly, I rose in the seated position. My deodorant had given up the ghost. It just couldn't compete with the scent of stale sweat anymore. I wrinkled my nose. Suddenly self-conscious, I smothered my shirt front. My pom-poms were getting knotted and a little ratty. I'm gonna say, you're kind of a fraud. What do you think your insolence will buy you, Shalina? Now, my sweet. All good things must come to an end. Your new life is about to begin and I have chosen you. Be grateful. You owe me much. I could have treated you like a common criminal. After all, you are not so worthy as you think you are. I was beginning to regret telling her that I was talented. The idea seemed to bring out the worst in her. Not that there was much to her good side. She set a knife into the table. I've already spent so much time and all to make something of you. I only want you to become your best self. What's that for? I bet you have nothing inside. That's what I'm gonna say. I bet you have nothing inside. Mara, what did you say to me? I do not find you to be sufficiently grateful. You should. Thank me for all that I've done for you. You give yourself airs, my pet, believing you are better than you are. Have I not given you shelter? Have I not fed you and clothed you? I gaped at her. Then hot disbelief followed on my heels at my confusion. Indignant, I got to my feet and gripped the bars. My head throbbed in protest. Except for maybe the shelter, which I'd like to point out is a cage, you haven't done any. She opened the door and cornered me in the small space. Let's just say her skill with a knife exceeded a level of artistic mastery. I did not see her move. Did not feel the sharpened point, not at first. It occurred to me, as the warm blood poured down my ribs, that she'd had a lot of time to practice. My grip on the bars faltered and I slid to my knees. She watched me dispassionately. She seemed curious, and nothing more. There now, how do you feel? Much better? That is good. Do you want to see yourself, my echo? I nodded solemnly. She gave me a mirror. My eyes were blue and black that stretched across the white swelling of hole. Otherwise, I looked just as I remembered. There was now nothing in shen quality to my skin, as if the warmth were drained away. My bloodline was cursed. I'm afraid it happened when I did away with my nuisance of a father a long time ago. All those who rise from my blood become like this. It was appropriate in your case. You make a far better echo than you would a courtier. She pressed fingers lightly to my brow and traced my cheekbone jaw. A little too compliant, I think. But I shouldn't complain. There was less for me to cut away. It's just eerie. Totally felt like someone just crawled on my knee. I thought it was a spider, but it's not. I don't know. Just an itch. Okay. She touched my cheek with the backs of her fingers, then returned to her chair. I despise talent, so I cut away yours, so your presence will be less offensive. I confess I was disappointed because I enjoy a challenge from time to time. One should ask, who am I? I have made it easy for you by stripping away chaff. You know who you truly are with all the necessary decoration and what memories are. You know meaningless lace and frill. I have given you such a gift, have I not? A gift? Yes, my sweet. Now, who are you, my echo? Who am I? She laughed softly. How precious you are. What, have you nothing to say for yourself? Nothing to say for myself? Very good, my pet. I'm so glad you are content. You will be happy here with me. ending too, apparently. Did not think it was going to take that long. People, I looked at the reviews, and well, I looked at one review real quick, and it just said something like, it's short but good. And, okay, I thought this was going to be like a 15-minute thing. Can't believe it took almost an hour, but yeah, it's a visual novel, not my usual type of video, but I thought I'd try something new. It's pretty eerie. Kind of curious about the other endings, but we will save that for another time, and I'll probably just skip through to the options parts and not read through the whole thing again. But anyways, that was it for this one, and I'll see you all next time.